feel like I'm making my very own Why I Left BuzzFeed video. What's up, everybody? My name is Miss Landall, Miss Page, Michelle, however you know me, and I just quit teaching. And I want to talk about it. And to my kids who are watching this, because I'm sure that you are, I just genuinely want you to know that when I said I loved you, I meant it. And when I'd say that you're my student always, I still mean that. This does not change any of that. So please know that. And please know that I am not walking away from education because of you. There's a lot of other factors that are going into it, and I want to talk about a couple of them now. Oh my God, no, like, you're such a good teacher. Thank you. I agree. But you were the one who always seemed like you had it together. You're right, I did. But what about the upcoming students? You know what? They'll manage. All right, so right off the bat, this is not going super into specifics. If you are looking for the tea from like all my old jobs, like I'm not doing that. I want to echo some things that I've been hearing from lots of other teachers and just put it out there. So basically any Google search that you get will turn up teachers are leaving because no consequences for poor behavior from students, poor behavior in general, low pay, lack of support, lack of respect, all this stuff. So I don't want to sit here and just reiterate the same thing. I want to talk about my personal experience and what knowledge I've gained over the last 5 years and kind of what was the breaking point for me, because lots of people have been asking. So before I get to kind of my breaking point and my realization that I needed to walk away, and I hate that I feel this way, but I feel like I have to say, just to cover all my bases, that you can't say I didn't try. I've been watching a lot of other videos similar to this one, and most of the comments are very supportive, but there's always people who say, well, you didn't try hard enough, or, you know, it's just because you weren't that good of a teacher. So I just have to say, I ran the gambit of schools, from city-based charter to kind of in the country / on the lake, top 10% in North Carolina public school. I coached multiple sports just about every year that I was there, and at one of my schools, I wasn't even compensated for coaching. So when I got to a school, I really did my best to integrate and to invest in my kids and invest in the community as a whole. I've taught 3rd, 5th, 6th, 7th, and 8th. And yet, in all of these different years and all the different levels of chaos through COVID and everything, this is the year that broke me, and I want to be able to explain why. My desire to leave came from one simple phrase that I've heard time and time and time again throughout my 5-year career: it gets better. So my first year teaching, I had a lot of behavioral issues. I had a lot of students in emotional crisis. I felt like I had no idea what I was doing. I had no idea how to handle it. I had parents who treated me very poorly, and I also had parents who really went out of their way to welcome me and make me feel appreciated. And I want to make that clear. It was by far not everyone. And I had some really wonderful kids too. And I was told, it's your first year, it'll get better. My second year, was the year I had to teach in a stairwell for part of my time because the building that I was supposed to teach in was not finished yet. And after expressing concerns for the safety of the new building when we did move in, we had an intruder. And that really made me not okay for a long time. Wow, am I getting emotional? Oof, ugh, ugh. Okay, no. Whew. It made me not okay for a long time. And I was told it was a fluke. You know, bad stuff happens sometimes. Next year will be better. Well, my third year did start out better. I still had very similar behavior issues that I felt like I had a better handle on in my classroom, but ultimately the issues persisted. I was still dealing with parents who were not happy with what I was doing. Even being named Teacher of the Year, I still had people from all different corners coming out and criticizing me and the way that I would do things. And then COVID hit and cut that year short. So after those 3 years, I thought maybe it's the school. Maybe I just need a change of scenery, especially because I was still in the same room where I had had the intruder experience the year prior. So I thought COVID made everything crazy and next year it'll be better. So I get to this new school, everything's going great, and we had to deal with hybrid model of half the kids there, half the kids at home, rotate, all these different planning days. And my students that year were really not a major issue because they were in such smaller classes. So it was less drama from the kids and more from the parents and from like district leaders that were implementing things and changing the rules. And right when we felt like we had stuff nailed down, they would pull the rug out from underneath us, and then we'd have a new schedule with new requirements and new technology and all these things that we had to kind of keep up with. And at the end of that year, I really kind of was starting to lose it a little bit. And I was like, okay, you know, everybody is telling me it's going to get better, and it really doesn't feel like it. But, you know, the other teachers who were there said, listen, this is such a crazy fluke. This is ridiculous. Like, it's just because of COVID, it'll get better. And then came this year. This year was a culmination of a lot of different issues that just came together in a perfect storm. The real issue was just that I realized I was doing everything right. I was the teacher who had it together. I was the teacher who had the class that just keeps on rolling. I had excellent observational scores from my administration who were saying, you go girl, like you got it. Like, this is exactly what we're looking for in a teacher. And still, I had behavior issues that I felt unequipped to handle. I had students in crisis that our mental health team just could not reach because there was such a significant need. And everything that I've been told would get better didn't. And at the end of this year, I was talking to a couple of my coworkers and I kind of expressed like, listen, I really feel like I'm at the end of my rope. I feel like I am just going through the motions. And like a lot of teachers in these videos talk about like crying on their way to school every day. That wasn't me, but I went the opposite direction, which is generally how I handle emotional things, is I went numb. I tuned everything out and just went through my day-to-day, and I don't think that my students necessarily totally felt it, but I certainly felt it. And we talk about vibes all the time in my class. I say, oh, the vibes are off. Like, the vibe was off. So I was starting to realize maybe this was my cue to kind of step away, at least for a while. And I was talking to my coworkers and they said, well, we've never had a year like this before. It'll get better. And I just suddenly, it was like I just like walked away from the conversation and my brain was just like, no. I had this sudden realization, like a That's So Raven like vision into the future, where no matter how hard I worked, no matter what I did, nothing changed the amount of frustrated parents. Some would say I was too strict, some would say I wasn't strict enough, and some would say I gave too much work, and some would say I didn't give enough. In the same week, I would have totally opposite views. Nothing changed the engagement levels of my students. I just had students who did not care. I could incentivize them with the most incredible, amazing, dynamic, you go girl from my administration lessons. And there were some I just could not engage. And I used to write that off as inexperience or me not doing enough. And I am starting to see that maybe that's not the case. Nothing really changed the amount of praise I received, whether that was from my students or from parents or from admin or, from the people who work at the office that I've never seen or met in the years that I've been at that school. The real kind of heartbreaking realization for me was no matter how hard I worked, nothing changed my personal level of satisfaction. Every other year, when people would tell me it gets better, I interpreted that as I can do better, I can be better, I can give more of myself and more of my time and my energy, and I can go to these workshops and I can go present at conferences and I can get all this feedback and I can become better. And this was the first year I really ended up feeling kind of defeated because I was better. And I heard it from people up and down my hallway and from my administration, and I saw nothing for it. I got very little out of it. And I just felt like everything that I was putting into it was not being reciprocated. I understand that you're never going to make everybody happy. I have worked customer service before. Like, I understand that. And I have a really thick skin. But I just could not find the fulfillment or the point in working myself half to death to have the same level of student engagement, the same number of behavioral issues, and the same number of complaints. So I have recognized that the oomph that I used to have is not there anymore. And I made it through this year successfully. But I think if I stayed another year in the mindset that I'm in, my students wouldn't get the best of me, and my students deserve the best of me. I gotta take some time to be me and do my thing independent of being a teacher. So much of my identity has been wrapped up in being Miss Landall and then Mrs. Page. I need to kind of unplug and get back to Michelle. So I might return to teaching. I still genuinely love teaching. I know this video probably felt like a downer because I'm basically like, yeah, it crushed my spirit. But like, I'm just trying to explain, if you have a teacher in your life right now and they do not have the normal oomph, please try to understand it's really tough. It's a really, really tough job. I'm stepping away from teaching for now, but this channel is not going away. I am going to hopefully continue to post on here. I do want to still make more parody videos. I just have not had time, but maybe now that I'm not teaching every second of the day, or thinking about teaching every second of the day, I'll be able to do some other fun activities and parodies and everything awesome on this channel. So I just want to end this video with a thank you. Thank you to the students that I've had. I've had nearly 1,000 of you. I did that math the other day and it blew my mind. I've taught nearly 1,000 of you over the last 5 years, and whew, I don't do well with emotion. So thank you, because you are the reason that I stuck with it for so long. You are the reason why I had so much fun the last 5 years, and you're the reason that I taught. So thank you to all the students who stuck by me and who are still here on this YouTube channel 5 years later. Thank you to the parents who really put forth a serious effort to make me feel appreciated and loved, and that you were willing to go the extra mile to help your students succeed. And thank you to all of the mentors that I had throughout the years, my administration, my co-teachers who were on the ground with me every single day, and my teammates who had to deal with this crazy. I would not have made it 5 years if it was not for you all. So I don't want this video to end on a sour note. There's a lot that I've really appreciated. There's a lot that I've learned. I've had massive personal growth and so many fond memories. I'm not a crier, I swear. But so many fond memories that I'm gonna take with me. This is not necessarily goodbye. This is see you later. And I hope I will see you on my YouTube channel as soon as I have a slightly less crazy life and am able to post a video. Thanks for listening, and I'll see you around.